Welcome to another exciting episode of the Neville Goddard Podcast. My name is Mr. 2020. And, God, what a goody episode this is. As I recorded it, I noticed a couple different really cool thought streams coming up. And the main one that I want you to remember today is you don't have to play offense, you don't have to play defense. A lot of people think playing offense is a good idea. And it feels good to playing defense, but you didn't come here to do either. You came here to give life to the lovely. So let's dive in. We're going to explore how to do that today. We're just going to keep exploring the good stuff. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for caring. We appreciate your feedbacks, your shares, and you diving deeper. See you inside the podcast. I want you to imagine up something different. But first, I want you to imagine up a different way of life. I just had a really cool chat with a friend who did Triple D 2 years ago. And one of the things that we chatted about was most people were playing defense. They're trying to imagine defensively. And I don't have to explain what that is because you know what it feels like. And what happens is they get stuck in this whole opposite thing. They start to imagine offensively, taking charge, puffing themselves up, pushing, and that doesn't work either. Offense and defense are part of the same coin, and it's a worthless coin. Throw it out. Because you can play the offense-defense game, or you can actually give life to the lovely. And that feels entirely different. I want you to notice I'm talking about feelings here, because feeling is the secret. Defense feels one way, offense feels one day. They're both offensive to me. Giving life to the lovely, that's something completely different. And that's where I want you to play today. Because when you start giving life to the lovely, you get to notice I am an artist. You're an artist. You're an author of the book of you. And you get to decide how much trauma and how much drama will you put up with. What happens when you have no space for bullshit? There's a question worth asking. What happens when I have no space, no room in my day for bullshit? And I can promise you. You see, we talked about surrender yesterday. And surrender is pretty cool because you are always surrendering to something. Are you letting others lead? Are you letting their trauma, their drama? Are you letting your old trauma and drama lead? Yeah, are you at war with your potential and your possibilities? Yeah, see, you know what it feels like. And it's time to start feeling something different. So hopefully you explored surrender as we talked about in yesterday's episode. If not, go there. Also, really consider getting that Secrets of Surrender pack, the Secret of Surrender at NevilleGoddardStore.com. Meanwhile, Joseph Goddard. If you want to own your destiny, you have to own your day. To own your day, the best way that I have found to do it is to get in the habit. Get in the habit of owning those first few minutes of the day. When you wake up, the most natural thing in the world, see, to wake up, to get your body moving, you get a little squirt of what's called cortisol. And cortisol is the do something chemical. I have to do something. It's time to do something. Cortisol is the reaction chemical. When you're driving the car and somebody swerves towards you and you beep, you hit the horn, the brakes, and you steer all automatically, all at the same time. That's cortisol. And cortisol is designed to keep you safe, to help you survive, to get you out of bed. It just gives you that instant little sugar snacks kind of experience. The problem is most people continue to add more to their meal. Cortisol is like salt. A little tiny bit is all you need. But most people add more cortisol and more cortisol and more cortisol, and they start defending their limitations because this is the way I am. I was born 3 months early. My parents split up when I was 7 years old. I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and they said I'd be a cripple. Then I got PTSD at 23 after being a karate champion. It all worked against me. You see, that's my story. Or it could be. Instead, I've chosen something differently. I'm the artist. I'm the author. So this is the real experience of I am. It ain't about walking around saying I am statements. It's about noticing I am the author. Notice it. Notice I am the artist. Notice it, and you don't have to be a starving, struggling artist. Struggle implies you aren't surrendering. Again, there's a reason why we start with surrender. And then we move on to this whole Joseph Goddard thing. And here's the short version of it. If you want the long version, get the pack. But the short version is this. 5 to 10, 6 to 12 specific events of my day already having gone my way. Every day I do a podcast before I get out of bed, before I drop the kids off at the pool. Some of you know what that's code name for. But before I do my morning duty, right, I've already imagined 5 to 10, 6 to 12 specific events of my day having gone my way. Yesterday I had a coaching call, so I imagined that having had gone great, and it did. We covered some really cool shit. I love this stuff. The days where I've got group calls, I imagine the group call having had gone great. What would imply that? I follow the teachings of Neville precisely. I don't add anything in. I don't leave anything out. That's why I'm able to nail that many that fast. But you could start with something like three events on your calendar. We're going on a date today. I'm imagining the food was super yummy. I'm imagining her laughter, joy, and smiles. Because we're going on a date after the show today. I've imagined the show having had gone great today. These are the things that I know, because when you get in the habit of nailing daily wins the way that we teach, inspired by Neville's dad, Joseph Goddard, when you do this, you develop unshakable, unstoppable confidence. And that's really, really important because, as Neville Goddard said, all of your present beliefs, fears, and limitations are weights that bind you to your present level of consciousness. If you would transcend this level, you must leave behind all that is now your present self or conception of yourself. To do this, you take your attention away from all that is now your problem or limitation, and you dwell upon just being. That's where it begins. Whenever you're waking up in the morning, if you dwell upon just being, just for a moment, you've discovered you've got a body that gives you that little squirt of cortisol. But if you just sit for a second, lay there for a second, feel what it's like to just be, and then you allow yourself to surrender as we teach. Don't force, don't struggle, don't try to make it happen. Just surrender to the experience of, for me, having had a great day at the pool. Victoria's yum. Your emails. You letting me know, 20, I love your stuff. See, when I get those emails, they thrill me. And that's what I invite for you. A thrill sent through divine being. If you got gold today, my suggestion is two things. Well, my main suggestion is this. Today, Joseph Goddard to the max.com. That's Joseph Goddard to the max.com. And Joseph Goddard to the Max, what we do is we really dive into detail of how to own your morning. If you don't own your day, you don't own your destiny. And Joseph Goddard to the Max will have you bounding out of bed. Will have you on fire. You hear where we come from? This is natural. And this is the way you were naturally meant to be. You weren't meant to be at war, right? Playing defense, playing offense. You came here to make love, to dance, to give life to the lovely, to appreciate the beauty in the world, the beauty that you are. That's it. Dive deeper. Thanks for listening. My name is Mr. 2020. Sharing is caring. If you share the show, or one of the best ways you can share the show besides sharing the show is to leave a comment. Ask a question. Because if you leave a comment or ask a question, hey, that lets everybody know, hey, this is pretty cool. That lets Facebook or YouTube's, wherever you find this at, lets people know this is worth listening to. This is pretty cool. I think it's worth listening to. That's why I share it. Have a great day. It's better than the news. Think about that. Some people, they will share the gloom and doom and yak about it forever. Me? That ain't me. You're the author. You're the artist. That's what I'll share. You are God having the adventure of a lifetime. Have a great day. See ya.